I guess, baseball going on. Now, California's different, some of the, warmer states and stuff like that, but the majority of the country is not doing anything. It's either indoor sport, training mode, whatever that is. But what are you guys doing? I guess at this point of the year, are you guys hosting camps, going off campus to other, organizations, camps, 4-year camps, fall league games? Like, what are you doing? Are you with your guys more on the development stuff? Because that for us, I mean, that was our rules, right? We had to give up the off-campus stuff. We might have a camp here or there, but like it was our time to, and probably my favorite time, whatever got exposed in the fall, whether it was an inter squad or an outside competition game, you kind of got to individualize it a little bit more, work on those areas. Not as much of a team aspect, but more of like, hey, this is what got exposed. This is what we need to do. Let's get in a smaller setting, and kind of get to work that way, and especially over the winter, and hammering the gym, obviously trying to get as big and strong as possible going into the spring. But like, what are you guys doing now?
I mean, really in the middle and hitting upon everything that you just mentioned. I mean, the early stages in the fall when we go, it's more of an evaluation with the roster being larger, right? So you come in, roster's larger. It's a lot of evaluation. It's a lot of setback. It's not a whole lot of detail there at the beginning. You kind of have a feel if you do your due diligence and the recruitment part is being done. You have that idea coming in. But as you know, it's different once you get them there on the daily. You start finding out characteristics, traits, makeup, what are their strengths, where's the deficiencies at, whether it's mental side, whether it's physical skill aspect of things, you name it. So it's a lot of evaluation there at the beginning. Um, then we get into, team pillars, philosophies, get on the skill development, things of that nature in large group. Right now, we're in the middle of a lot of squad, and we're playing our fall ball games right now.
Mm-hmm.
And as you mentioned, um, we get to we get to pick apart whether it's, hey, things that are being done really well, or hey, man, we got some shortcomings here in this area, whether it's individually or as a team aspect. And then we get to address those, with the skill development and the practice time in between. So we're literally right now at the end of that. We have a game tomorrow. You mentioned team camp, which we've never done that. We've never been open to that as a program here at Riverside, but we're actually going to have one. We're actually going to play a junior college, which, man, in 10 years I've stayed away from.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried to utilize the 4-year institutions, put our guys in front of those 4-year staffs and coaches, for the recruiting process for them, recognition, things of that nature, but also allow them to compete against older players, seasoned players. But we're going to Cal Baptist for a team camp. Gary talked me into it, that turkey.
Yeah.
Tiger helping Tiger, going to compete against a good club. Andy Smith's done well with his new school over there at Citrus College. Took a new job, so it kind of has kind of two teams combined, so it should be real competitive and real fun, which that's what you want to put those guys in
For
front of,
sure.
So we're doing that, and then next week we'll have our Black and Orange World Series, where the guys get to and again, you get to identify traits and
Hmm.
characteristics, who's the leaders, who's taking charge because they're picking their teams, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We give them some guidelines to follow. And then we get after it for a 3-game series next week to finish it off from the team aspect. And then we get into the final part of the final, 7 weeks of fall where it's really small group, individual oriented, and we get to nitpick and just get
Yeah.
after it. That's where, a lot of that magic happens.
That's where I saw a lot of the like big steps, because at like you said at the beginning, you're just evaluating. If you come in and just start changing shit from the first time they step foot on campus, they already think they're good. They are good, but you have to let them fail almost, and that's the, I guess, sitting back, watching a little bit. Now you have to instill your values, your pillars, your culture, like get that started. But and you should have some leadership on the from the player side as well. Usually the returners, but they're not going to trust you if you just come in and start changing stuff because you know how it goes. When you make one little adjustment, it's not clicking like that. It takes reps and reps. And um,
For sure.
I remember Dennis tried to put a damn leg kick in me. I couldn't hit the ball out of the cage for like a week, and I'm like, stop, old man, but he was right. Like I needed more leverage, and I ended up having to figure out swing a longer bat. Let's maybe hang the pinky over a little bit just to create that. I couldn't do it with my body. But it was, I knew I needed it. He knew I needed it probably to take it to the next level. But if he would have done that day one, I'd have been pissed. I'd have been not
Oh,
receptive to the coaching, which is what you want and they need.
you put that, there's a lot of, you put up that resistance wall
Hmm.
immediately, right? And then it's a whole nother barrier that we're trying to overcome together. You know what I mean? And that's, you've done this long enough, man, as a player and as on the coaching side of it, right? There's barriers everywhere. And how many can we take on together? And once that player sees that you're willing to take on that barrier with them, that you're there for them, um, I've always found it like it's crazy. And we don't deal with parents. I
No.
mean, and we don't deal with parents. But it's crazy to see the parents come in and like you're you're setting my kid up, and then the kid kind of takes that, you're setting me up for failure. Like it's the farthest from the truth, man. I mean, you're part of us, you're an extension of us, is how I've always looked at it, and that's the perspective I've always had. So I mean, your failures are my failures. You know what I
Yeah, and
mean?
that's the other thing too, is like it ain't about us. Like
No.
at the end of the day, they're the ones throwing the ball. They're the ones catching it and hitting it and running and all. We just try to guide them as best we can to allow them to play, to the best of their abilities. But the moment it becomes about the coach and they feel like it's about us, that's I think where the resistance comes in because not everyone's the same. You got to coach guys differently within the structure of your program and culture. But I think that evaluation piece early on is key, and it's hard to do. I think younger coaches have a really hard time with it. But
Say it again.
so we'll get to a little bit of that later, but no, I mean I think that's the biggest thing for them is just like you said, they when they feel that you're part of it with them, um, there's more reception and not the wall that you're talking about putting up because then once that's up, it'll take you 2 years to break that down, and by that time they're out of there, and you haven't done your job, and they're in a worse spot um, than when they got there.
100%.
So, what have you seen? I guess talk like a little bit more recruiting. I guess the last three to 5 years, we'll say it's really really changed. Um, what have you seen? I guess over that little span of time when it comes to maybe the junior college side of things, whether it's recently the roster shrinking down. You've got the portal, which is really turning these guys into free agents every year. And I don't like it, but it is where we're at right now. Have you seen anything, I guess, on the junior college side and how that's changed your world in the last, like I said, 3, 5 years?
No, absolutely. I think all of it with that roster size, the portal coming in, portal is the one that started it, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And now here we got that roster, decrease and limitations going in outside of the ones that are grandfathered in. But that movement's taking place. Some of the better players coming in outside of our recruiting window, surprises, um, are players that institutions are going, hey, we're being proactive and making those decisions, those tough decisions early. You know what I mean? And those players are floating. So with that being said, just being honest, man, there's just more quality players, skilled players coming out of high school that are available and they're willing and open and looking at the junior college situation as a viable, productive option for them to go compete, open up their recruiting platform again, where all options are available. I've been telling people this, I see it now getting back to the point, and I'm going to age myself here.
You already did 28 years.
Yeah, it's just it really reminds me of the true draft and follow days back when,
More on
where
the college side, kind of.
more on the college side where the players that are available coming in are filled with that type of talent. Like we're having to make some tough decisions here, Walter. We're really good players that can play here, that can compete here, but because the abundance of talent that is available here, we're hard knock on the phone making phone calls of finding places for them because their redshirt situation is, hey, they want to play. And that's always been the option in the appeal for the
Mhm.
JC scenario, right? Like get there, get that experience, get seasoned. You know what I mean? Get that experience. Get yourself as ready as possible for those next levels. And we're having to do it now and making phone calls for other JCs like, hey man, like this player here is gonna make our roster, but I mean it's minimal. Not saying that we're better than anybody, but
Yeah.
there's different levels and different situations and circumstances for players to go to. And we're having to do that at the JC side, like parallel.
And it's crazy because, and I don't want to say it's crazy because there's a spot for everyone, but the
100%.
junior college side on the high end, which obviously you guys are, it's not a guaranteed you're going to walk in and play. Like you're getting a better player now on paper than you were able to get 5 years ago. Whether it's the kickbacks or the roster shrinking down, COVID giving an extra year to guys and aging college baseball to a crazy average age across the board. But the parents that need to hear and know that you can't just go into a JUCO and just play. Like those dudes are good. Like those some of those teams are beating the low majors and you see them mid majors and stuff in the fall, they're beating their ass. Like you're getting more reps. You don't have necessarily the care restrictions and the days and all that. And you can get out and beat some guys on the late bloomers being able to be on the road when other guys can't. But I mean, you're getting a way better player on paper than you were, not too long ago. And that stigma of, oh, just go to a JUCO and play there and then transfer out. Now, like you're playing against a lot of kickbacks from that were D1 guys or D2 guys and guys that are draft guys. And so it's good for people to hear that because it's not just, oh, just go to a JUCO and play. Like those dudes are good.
Oh, it's happening. And I think that's the biggest, I would say in that 3 year period that you mentioned, like, hey, what are you seeing the difference of? It's that quality of player that is available and coming, right? So, I mean, there is more depth on that roster along with the quality players as well. And it's that shock, even with the top tier players, the projected players, right? That shock of like, oh, we are competing day in and
Yep.
day out. This is completely different. And they've not been upheld or put in an environment, but those types of demands and expectations put on them on a daily. You
Yep.
know how it is, you know what I mean? And they go through a culture shock big time. That's one of the obstacles they got to overcome. It's wild because a lot of those mid majors here in our area would be taking those players, and they're not. They're not the first option anymore. The
Hmm.
first option is going to that portal side.
Oh yeah.
So they're floating, man, and then
Oh
they're
yeah.
coming. And again, a lot of them are starting to realize how viable it is, you
It's
know?
it's almost more appealing for the higher end player than the lower end player. Like I was, kind of like I said, the stigma of, oh no, not quite there. Let's go to a JUCO play and then I'll be good. Whereas like I was out all summer, and if this ties into the softball role too, I know you're deep into that, but like, and maybe it's not as caught up on the JC side on the softball world, but I was out all summer at these 16, 17U events. There's no coaches there. None. Like there's maybe 5 or 10 where there used to be 200.
Right.
But then I go watch Blake play, and he's playing at these showcases. Every school in the country that cares about winning is there, and at least one guy. Sometimes they're, double dipping. Um, they're telling you how they want to recruit. They want to recruit the older player via portal, junior college, grad transfer, like whatever it is. They're telling you what they want. So it's almost a more appealing option if you're that higher end player to go to the junior college side and really consider it, I guess, if you have options.
100%. And I don't know what the percentage is coming out of high school. Not saying that it's going to happen because you are. I mean, if you're in that top 10% across the country, the attention is there
Hmm.
and you're coming in, you know. But on that portal side and JUCO side, again, you're talking about an older player. You're talking about a seasoned guy. And again, for the evaluators that are doing the assessments, it's easier for them because they've done it on a collegiate platform.
They've they've
So
they've
they
swung and
feel
missed at
better.
the college
Yeah,
slider. They've seen it.
yeah, they feel
Um,
better.
yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
I'm
And
making this
it's why
decision.
not?
Yeah,
It's easier.
yeah,
Like you're making fewer mistakes. I still think there's turnover at a alarming rate, but um, now they have the out with the portal. But
well,
they're taking a guy that's already swung and missed at the college slider. He's already gotten a hit, a college hitter out. They've failed, they've succeeded, and that's how you grow. Um, I mean, it's almost you have to, like you said, unless you're that top 5, 10% um, of a skill set out of high school, then you've got a fighting chance. But even then, you're playing against 22 and 23-year-olds. Those are a lot of those guys should be in pro ball, and they're not because of the
that's right.
NIL factor, which I don't think affects too many schools. I think that's kind of it's played up a little bit where guys are it really doesn't, but on the high end it does, and maybe that guy doesn't sign, and you're the high school guy that should be walking into a role. Now you're playing against a guy that should be in low A or high A. Like that's
They're
a
they're still
different
there.
animal. Oh yeah, so. Because it used to be, I always like, I guess to get it as to simplify it as much as possible. Like you had two types of guys. You had the good baseball player, or you had the guy that was kind of tooled up. Where these guys that are 5'11", 86, 88 righty, throws strikes, no real out pitch, but can command 2, 3 pitches, or puts the ball in play, not a ton of power, doesn't strike out, move the ball around the yard. Usually the guy you want up with guys on base though, or you got the guy that can hit it over the fence, 95, maybe if it's off the backstop. But you've got the tools versus the kind of the good baseball player. Like I'm guessing in the past you've almost gotten more of the baseball player, just with these bigger schools recruiting tools so much. And maybe you get the toolsy guy for a Christmas present, wrapped in December, that's getting kicked back. But has that changed? Because I don't think I'm off there. Like I think that um, the good baseball player gets overlooked sometimes because they don't now with so much metrics and are you hitting it over 100 miles an hour and whatever you name it. Those guys are getting passed up because the bigger schools are going so much for tools, regardless of maybe the in-game savvy or whatever.
Yeah, the high IQ,
Hmm.
baseball awareness, and instincts are there. Those gritty labeled guys. They're just ball players, right? Still getting them. I think we're getting more tools, and for us, it's easier to take those quote unquote toolsy project guys
Hmm.
here in Cali, as you know, 96 of us, I believe, and we don't invest any money. It's just time.
Yep.
It's time, and it's go ahead. We welcome the project. You know what I mean? And let's take that challenge. It's a little bit tougher when you're having to invest that money in,
Yeah,
or there's roster limitations, things of that nature. Um, but I think it's still a blend of the both. It's
for
just
sure.
we're getting more options. We're getting more quality instead of, hey, that roster of 25 and you're putting the nine out there, let's take that guy off the bump and okay, the eight positional and you're hitting nine in that lineup. It's oh man, you got three or four pretty quality right there, and then we're filling in. It's getting lengthier.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, I
getting
guess
lengthier.
the goal too is you have those toolsy guys that you do develop. Like you want those guys to be the ones that you're
Oh,
playing because they've caught up, and that raises your ceiling. And a blend of both. Like even you look at the big league level, like the Dodgers, they just they have baseball players in that lineup. They don't just have Otani and you know.
100%, I mean, I can just go in the last recent years, the guys that are playing at the D1 side and what they had coming in here, you know what I mean? Were Boogie, Casey Murray Jr. at Slow, playing for Larry Lee and his staff over there, and well, how he finished last year, the projection finally. I mean, probably one of the hottest players in the country from an offensive standpoint, like staggering, like dumb video game numbers, right?
Mhm.
But um just cool. And what kind of offers did the kid come out? Just a raw athlete out of a small high school in Paris,
Yep.
California. You know what I mean? And again, the journeys are different, taking those types of things to um, we got a Albert Robles up playing for Canada. I'm at Oregon State right now, who I think is just going to light it up at the back end on a Penn standpoint. And again, how many offers coming out of small school in Moreno Valley here in
Hmm.
California, right? And again, I could do this for both of those dudes.
Hmm.
Um, to Nacho Alvarez playing in the big leagues right
I was
now.
gonna ask him, like to me, he was that really good player, that just did
Oh,
everything right, and then um,
it's
it's just a difference maker, right? But
just
and it
different
wasn't was he committed to Fullerton before or after you?
after.
Okay, so
So
coming into your place, um,
zero D1 offers.
he had the IQ, he had the
Had the IQ,
instincts.
and it was kind of
Um,
that tough coming out of that COVID area. So we'll
yeah,
give we'll give them all some grace, right? We'll
nah,
give them all
nah.
some grace. But again, it just goes to show there still are some players, and
Mhm.
again, what are people looking for? Because it can't always be just the metrics as well. What are the eyes seeing, right? And he's one of those guys, though, Walter, where when you're around that dude every day, we see things that others will never. And then again,
Mhm.
it's the relationships that are developed throughout, and you have those conversations when you're like, hey, this is your guy. This is your guy you want.
Well, and those guys make the toolsy guys better because that's how you do it. I can hit it harder than you. I can hit it farther than you. I can run faster than you, but you do it so much more consistent that if I can just keep trying to catch you on the consistency side, that's where those guys make jumps too because they're seeing it from guys that, they're they're showering with, like that's
I still shake my head because it took with him, like I said, explain kind of the process that we've always gone about, right? Coming into the fall and how that fall rolls out from the individual standpoint to the team aspect of things. And it was probably week 6. We started getting some squad stuff, things of that nature. And he just did some things. And I looked at David and said, "Oh man, we
Mhm.
got something different here. This kid is different." Um, had those conversations. You saw the maturation. What a great club that was
Yep.
anyway, right? Um, half the teams, Walter, didn't even submit his name in that draft. I had more no's and soft no's. We
Mhm.
got relationships and connections of
Oh
like,
yeah.
hey, we're calling and we're we're taking care of our, like, I'd love to see him play here.
Yep.
Like, I know he can. I know what he's going to bring to the table, and I genuinely respect what you do at your for your program and
Mhm.
whatnot, right? Like, I know this kid's going to make you guys better.
Yep.
And we got more, nah, not our guy,
Yeah.
not our guy. And again, it is what it
Fine,
is. It is what it is, right? Okay, go to the next because he's going to help somebody,
Yep.
and then 2 years to the draft date, man, he makes his MLB debut.
Awesome. Yeah,
Pretty
I
cool, pretty
mean,
cool stuff.
yeah, I'm definitely gonna get down there and hopefully he's up next year. Get out and watch some games.
He's tearing up that fall league right
Is he?
now. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
surprised they sent him out, but I guess he's getting close to what is this, year 5 for him or 4?
Mm. No, this uh year 3.
So he just finished year 3?
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah,
Damn.
yeah.
Um, well, kind of hitting off that, like you're getting a better player. You can get more guys, but there's still that culture piece that I think has to still be at the forefront because it's not just all the physical side, right? You still have to have the right kid, whether it's academically, off the field stuff. It's got to be somewhat clean, or you can't, because you can ruin a culture with one guy. It takes them all to kind of hold it together, but one bad one can really set you back on that side because they are influential, and if you get the wrong type of leader, it can really push you back. So how much background, I guess, just digging and resources and calling coaches and former teammates are you guys doing on the front end, I guess?
We do, and it's kind of like for us, it's kind of time period for us. Um, to be honest, like we brought on guys over the years that staffs have said, Rudy, no way. There's no way. There's so much baggage attached to this, or some character flaws and things of that nature to overcome, whatever. Um, for us, it's always been, hey, we'll decide that.
Hmm.
They haven't been here yet. They haven't experienced this environment. They haven't experienced this culture. You know, we'll decide that. Let's bring them here. Let's get them here. Let's immerse them. Let's challenge them, see how the response goes, and we'll go from there. And again, no money vested,
That's true. Yeah.
no money vested, right? So, and we've always been pretty good and fortunate with it, with that kind of approach there at the beginning. The reluctancy for us when it comes to that is the mid-year. Never, never been aggressive at the mid-year, at the break.
Hmm.
It's and for all the reasons that you expressed, you know,
Yep.
you're leaving mid-year. We got to know a whole lot here. We got to spend some time and sit down and get a feel for this if we're even going to consider this, because we've spent so much time during the fall, and you know how that fall goes on the
Hmm.
JC side. Like there's so much relational building, not, and I'm not just talking on the baseball aspect of skill development and everything that encompasses what a baseball program is. There's so much more to it than that. And to bring somebody in to jeopardize that, I've always been one to like, here's our dudes. Let's roll with our boys.
Yep. It's like the
Let's go.
trust, that you've
Let's
built,
go.
they've built, it's who you
Because
go to war with.
you spend so much time this,
Yep.
like it's the dirty rib. You're
Oh
gonna
yeah.
embrace that, right? Like there's so much more to it than just the baseball aspect of it. And it's gonna be things that you're gonna learn that you're gonna carry on for life, right? And then we
Mhm.
bring someone in mid-year. And again, that's just us.
Yeah, I mean everyone's different, just like everyone was different with, Nacho, and
Yep.
maybe they had another guy that was kind of that role that they saw him filling, and it was, more of a roster move why they didn't take him, or maybe they're not good enough to see it, or didn't invest enough
Yep.
time, or whatever. Everyone's got a different, way of doing things. But no, I think that's good to know because it is it's so valuable when you have the good culture, and it's so just I don't even know the right word to say, but I mean it's they can just
It
disturb
can
and disrupt every aspect of your day, and it's almost like you have no chance, when
you
that
can
thing
you
goes
can
sideways.
you can turn it into a vampire
Oh,
freaking house.
yeah, it's
Uh,
it's it's miserable. I've been a part of both, and it's not, more on the coaching side. It's just you get those one or two bad guys, and it sucks the life out of everyone. Misery loves company. They start, getting another guy, that's a fence sitter or whatever you want to call it, and it starts becoming the majority, and you're screwed.
yeah.
You're screwed after that. So, um, no, this is great stuff. But so I guess some of these guys, lastly, I'll let you guys talk a little bit about you and RCC, but guys get so caught up in the recruiting, when it's keep your head down, it's work hard, it's control what you can control. It's hard for these kids and these even your current players to not be worried about what the next step is, even as simple as, hey, where am I going for the summer? No, just keep worried about right now. Keep your head down, work, take your ground balls, you know, throw your pens, do your long, arm care, your whatever it is, hit off the tee, keep your work going, and they'll find you. It's not always easy for these kids or even these parents to totally buy into that. But and then I would say, what do you do, I guess, to combat a little bit of that? Do you catch them on the front end? Is it like, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is how it's gone in the past. And then, when you're talking to the coaches, I guess at the next level or even the scouts, like what can they expect from a, you know, Riverside Tiger? Like, what are they getting when they leave your place?
That's 2-1 right there
Mm,
for me. Um, the goal is, and again, I've used this term with you when you were on the flip side on the recruiting aspect of things as well. The goal for us is to develop a player no matter where they're going. Obviously, everyone's perception, goal, and idea coming here is, hey, I'm putting myself in a position where I'm going to be recruited by a Division I institution and program. Period.
mhm,
That's the goal coming in. And again, it's our job to do some evaluation and be transparent with our guys. Like, this is where you're at. This is where the market is right now. It doesn't, and again, in today's day and age where it's at, doesn't mean that's where you're going to end up. No
Yep.
one wants to hear that,
No.
but those are the facts, right? Those are the facts. And if you're so set on that and adamant about that, then you got to be open to that as well as a player. And I think, hey, if you're at that mid major or you're at the D2 side or even at the NAIA side,
Hmm.
right? Like D3s, I mean, you name it, that portal's alive. You got to somehow embrace it if you want to continue to procure the talent, right?
Yep.
Um, so with that is being transparent with those guys. And our goal is to get them here. And again, we're a program, Walter, we're not going to put that umbrella over you. You commit to us, you come in here, it doesn't mean 2 years.
Yep.
Like we want to put you in a scenario, in a situation where we can accelerate that growth, that development as fast and as quick as we possibly can. And if during that and as that's taking place, and if that's in year one, and there's interest there in you, and the interest is reciprocated back, and you feel those boxes are being checked off, man, you know this. It's
Hmm.
a handshake, it's a hug. Get your butt to the next platform level and get after it. And our goal is to do that with every one of our players. And why we do that, when we send them to those programs, wherever it may be, can they be an NM? Can they be an NM? Can they be no maintenance? And that is the goal. That is
Yep.
the goal with every single one of them. And that, again, that encompasses everything. That encompasses them as the human being, the student, because that is before that damn slash. And then as we have figured out, and again, the length of time and being around Dennis and the other coaches and, being in position now, um, I have found out and we have figured out you take care of those two pillars, that third one is happening no matter what, because you
Hmm.
already know what you have. You know what the makeup is. You know what the characteristic is. You know what the traits are. You know what I mean? It's not relying just on, that field and dirt time that we have presented and set forth. You know, all that other stuff is being done behind closed doors. No one's looking. I don't need eyes on me. I'm self-starter. I'm motivated. I'm determined. I want to be elite, and I'm going to do everything I can to put myself in position to achieve and taste that. You know what I mean? Put myself in position. Um, and with that, it's try to create that NM, that no maintenance. Tell those guys, and they're going there. They're not going there just because, hey, I get to be a part of this roster. They're going there because they're a major integral part